Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining. This is Thursday, where it's the third week of doing AI Impact. We talk about everything that's going to change our lives, but there's a lot of chatter right now. It's like, is this all a bubble or is this for real or what exactly is going to happen? We'll get to the bottom of that right now. And you're looking at somebody who's lived through bubbles. I know bubbles. I can identify bubbles. We'll talk more about those in a minute too, as well. So a lot to cover. Big thank you to the mods of the chat too. This is one is called AGI or bust. Is the bubble going to burst? We shall find out. It's going to be exciting anyway. And of course, never a financial advice, just a guy on the internet talking about all sorts of stuff that can be impactful. And big thank you to B-Man, best Patreon membership for not financial advice and excellent funny commentaries flashed in. Sorry, B-Man, that's great. And I should have been a stand-up comedian. I love cracking jokes and being humorous. It makes life so much brighter. Anyway, let's get into the story. Big thank you again to everybody for coming. First of all, Elon just reiterated, if successful, Optimus will be the biggest product ever. You know, he puts the biggest rockets in the sky. He builds a global internet network. He makes cars that drive himself. Can he make a robot? The answer is he already has. Yes, he can. He's being a little bit coy here, ladies and gentlemen. And we also know, this is another teaser from Elon Musk, I have an Optimus dance troupe on stage with me at the Tesla shareholders meeting that's coming up pretty shortly too. That'll be fun. We don't know if this is going to happen or not, but it could happen. Either way, it'll be exciting. And the Tesla Proxy is finalized. Why do you care? We won't go into detail on this, but you can vote on whether or not you want Tesla to buy some of XAI, which we'll be talking about today as well. Or if you want to 10x your stock, it's a no-brainer, absolute no-brainer. Would you pay 10% to get a 10x or more? Actually, it'll be a 20x probably by my mathematics. So you're really only paying 5% commission on the motivation to get a 20x. It's a no-brainer, ladies and gentlemen. Anyway, let's move on. Colossus II. Not only, this is kind of pretty wild. This is the biggest and baddest Gigawatt AI supercomputer ever. And it is mind-blowing how large this thing is, okay? Just for perspective, we'll talk about the energy for a second, because if you're going to run 1 million GPUs, you're going to need an awful lot of power. Where is that power coming from? Well, they have a very interesting location between many different places. So it's on the axis of Mississippi, Tennessee, and Arkansas, which I always say wrong. Arkansas, I think they say. And this is going to be a gigawatt training cluster. Well, you have all the other companies talking about these gigawatt training clusters. Many of them are just miles and miles away or years away from having them. And I won't go into detail about how many they're going to have running. But the key thing that we care about is this will have the power to probably create AGI. And Elon believes that. In fact, not just Elon. Jensen Huang, the CEO of NVIDIA, the godfather, you could say, of AI in terms of the AI compute, he said Elon is working on the most important area of AI, XAI, is called Foundation Cognitive Intelligence, okay? He talks about the stuff they do with autonomous vehicles and Optimus, etc. And he's very optimistic. Obviously, Elon's also great. And Elon and Jensen together are great. Now, another sign of how fast things can change. This is kind of mind-blowing. A lot of people are using AI for writing code for a long time. They were using Claude Sonnet 4, Gemini 2.5, Sonoma, Gemini 2.0, ChatGPT, DeepSeek, you name it, GPT-5. But just in 21 days, 3 weeks, Grok CodeFast was launched, and it completely disrupted all the incumbent AI coding space players, okay? It basically makes every other code base AI system look obsolete. Nothing even comes close. And this was purpose-built for raw speed and simplicity, and it's now the go-to choice for developers worldwide. As usual, he's gone from not being a player to entering a space and dominating it in 3 weeks. Don't fade Elon. And this is the big, so much big news this week. So it's going to keep on coming. So be prepared. This came out 2 days ago from XFreeze. And he basically said Grok 4 just smashed the AGI benchmarks. Again, destroying all the other models because they have the most compute. The most compute wins. It's that simple. But basically, this spurred Elon to say, I think XAI with Grok 5 has a chance of reaching AGI. He never thought that before. And he also says he has a chance of reaching artificial general intelligence by the end of this year, by Christmas. We're talking 3 months away. Mad. Now, all of this makes everybody nervous. All the TradFi normies and stuff. Everybody's saying, well, the ratios look really bubblicious and we should be concerned. There's a cool chart here. It's the weight of names in the S&P 500 that trade at more than 10 times price to sales ratio. Okay. Now, I would argue price to sales ratio, when you compare 1999 to 2025, you have companies that are making a lot more money, higher margin because they leverage technology and scale, highly effective, highly efficient. So price to sales doesn't really matter. It's like price to earnings ratio doesn't really matter anymore. But when you show this type of chart to somebody who lived through the dot-com bust, me too, and traded through it, you can see here U.S. market valuations are above the 2000 dot-com bubble peak. And that has everybody very, very nervous, including Bank of America. Is it a bubble? It looks like a bubble on the chart because my traditional financial ratios scream bubble, scream high valuation. This is from Bank of America. Try to zoom into it. They basically said in a history lesson, every major tech or investment bubble bursts, every single one. And the US dot-com bubble burst after a 400% run in 2000. AI euphoria has driven nearly 600% stock gains in the last 5 years, according to B of A. Okay, so they're thinking, bubblicious. But let's look at some more data, and I'll give you my view on this as well. So, does it look like a bubble to you? Here is some cool data on the right-hand side. 1/3 of Americans use AI many times a day to almost constantly. Okay, so basically, they're sitting at their computer, whether it's in their kitchen or in their bedroom where all the CNN newscasters tend to stream from, or whatever, CNBS. Why in their bedroom closets? I never get that. And why don't they always buy a microphone? I don't know. Anyway, moving on from that. There are people that are on AI all day, and it's only a small proportion of them. It is, what I see here, 31% of US adults, 33% of males, 28% of females are on it all the time. And these people would be 10 tech-forward people, okay? Now, when people talk about bubbles, if bubbles means a disappointing technology that's overhyped and not useful, that doesn't kind of fit with this. Okay, this shows us we are still early. Penetration is still small. But those that have penetrated use it nonstop. We're not comparing this to Webvan in 1999. Any company spun something up that would never be profitable, never be able to scale, never had the technology or the adoption. That's why I'm obsessed with following the money, following the adoption, following the profitability, future prospects, etc. This does not look like a bubble because we're still early and the adoption is crazy. And then people ask, what do people use AI for? Another interesting one here. I had to break this color chart into two so you can kind of see it. And I don't know what cosplay is or role play or whatever at the bottom right-hand side. Anyhow, moving on from there, you'll see this is a research paper that analyzed deeply millions of messages from ChatGPT between May 2024 and July 2025. And what they found was basically people use it for a couple of different things. One, practical guidance was top, writing, and seeking information. And that's pretty much it. But then there's some very obscure things to do an argument or summary or create ideas, etc. I know a lot of creators are using AI to create ideas. I don't, because I already have too many ideas. I don't need help with ideas. But that's what people use it for, a whole bunch of different stuff. But I think it's kind of cool if people use it for more than just writing, but really use it to try solve hard problems. That's the better use case. Anyway, back to where I was, okay? And this fits my theory of a cool chart that just dropped as well. Large companies have started to drop AI from their business, okay? And this tells me, oh, well, first of all, companies with 250 plus employees, probably thinking, oh, it's a silver bullet. I can press the AI button and my business gets better. No, it's not that simple. And it fits my theory. One, we're still early if they're dropping and the penetration is so low within 250 plus employee corporations. And second of all, 50 to 60% of all companies are zombies anyway. They're going to be disrupted over the next 5 years. And that's what we say. And then you have another industry, one of the most, non-advanced of many industries, insurance, very conservative. They just came out and said they were worried about inflation being the number one threat, top priority to their business. But now, all of a sudden, 66% of them are worried about artificial intelligence, up from 17% last time they did the survey. Okay, so the insurance industry is very worried about it. And let's talk about me and my thoughts for a second. Is AI a bubble? I'll tell you why I think it's not. Okay, first of all, a couple of things. One, I want to mention the green part as well. I lived through the dot-com bubble. I saw things like EMC in 2020 trading at a PE of like nearly 200. And I said, that's too expensive, went short. So I was probably one of the first guys to identify that things were a bubble and I was going short. So the minute you see me shorting NVIDIA, you know it's a bubble. Okay? I'm not shorting NVIDIA. I just want to be very, very clear. So I know what a bubble looks like. Okay? And NVIDIA is trading at a PE of 33, which actually is very cheap for a company like that. Anyhow, there are 3 reasons why I think it's not a bubble. One, absolutely off the hook demand for chips and infrastructure. AI needs huge amount of computing power. There's infinite demand for these chips. People are fighting over them. People who are first in line, like Elon, get all the ones they want, and the crumbs go to the rest. And sales of AI hardware is growing up 50% year over year, and memory chips for training up 70% year over year, just in 2025 so far alone. Supply cannot keep up with the demand. And we're just getting started. Adoption still early. I showed you the adoption stats. Less than 30% of US workers are using AI at their workplace, which is kind of funny. And some of the advanced forward-thinking consumers are probably more than employees. And innovation is accelerating. We're getting new breakthroughs, smarter agents, smarter coders, better chips, better models, more efficient models, faster models, smarter models. And this is all going to create a ton of long-term value. Remember what I said about Colossus and AGI by Christmas? Now, there is the other side of this. Maybe things will advance so fast, it could accelerate a bubble. That's possible. But I think once AGI happens, the world will explode in terms of new opportunities that will require more investment, more chips, more AI, etc. That's just my take. Anyway, we'll see. And NVIDIA, in order to scale, they are investing $5 billion in Intel. Intel has been on a bit of a roll lately because of the move of the US government. But for NVIDIA to drop another $5 billion in there is pretty impressive indeed. Why would they do such a thing? Well, I personally think they're doing it because they need to find a way to scale the ability to set up data centers. And Intel owned the data centers for 25 plus years with their x86 technology, but they have a lot of ancillary technology, cabinets, wiring, connectors, all that type of stuff that they need to help NVIDIA package up their GPUs and scale faster. That's why I believe it's strategic. Again, nothing wrong with that too. Let's talk about chips for a second. This cool chart from Futurum Equities. These are the PE ratios. By the way, this was taken before the $5 billion from NVIDIA went into Intel today. So the price of Intel was actually about $5 lower, 20% lower. So the PE ratio for Intel now is probably more like 135. Anyway, the most jaw-dropping here is Intel. A-Lab, never heard of those guys, but Intel is way up there in terms of being pricey. And the hot AI superstar NVIDIA is trading at a mere 31x. You know, traditional finance would like things to be trading at a 20x, but this is AI. Broadcom is at 44, ARM is 108x, and reliable old school players like Texas Instruments or Micron, they're way down at 27x, and Micron is 13x. Very cheap. But again, that's just a memory play. You know, it's probably not a lot of excitement in memory, although needed. And back to what's happening with AI in the world. The global FSD, this is a little bit of Tesla news, rollout is rapid. Tesla FSD is now available in the following countries: USA, Canada, China, Mexico, Puerto Rico, Australia, and New Zealand. I know a lot of people in Australia and New Zealand are very excited to wake up to FSD in their vehicles. Now, what's happening with this? Obviously, FSD is a robot on wheels, AI driven. But from Nicholas here, blink and you'll miss it. The EV revolution is taking off. Even high growth rates provide small increases early on, and then all of a sudden, you know, they get to the first 5%, 10%, and after that, it's an S curve. And this one shows you here how everything is accelerating so fast. You have 2- and 3-wheelers like motorbikes, cars and EVs going through the moon, trucks and vans also going to go through the moon, especially with the Tesla Semi coming next year, public charging points going to the moon, etc. By the way, I just drove past a Tesla Semi today. First one I've seen in a city, no less. And cars, again, people will tell you, oh, the EV industry is dead. No, it's not. No, it's not. Not at all. And speaking of cars, for those petrol heads out there, the Roadster, I believe, will probably make the Bugatti and the Lamborghini and Ferrari, etc., redundant. Elon said the new Roadster is something special beyond a car. That means it's going to be faster, safer, quicker, better road handling. And I am very excited to see this on the Nürburgring Nordschleife. I wonder what the time will be. It could be probably a new record. I know that's probably what they're going for. And it could even be faster than Formula One cars. So either way, it's going to be exciting. So forget your Lambo with your Tesla bags and your Bitcoin bags. Get a Roadster. It's also a lot cheaper and a lot cheaper to maintain and a lot safer, and it drives itself. And Elon again talked about just a few hours ago, the future of transit, okay, interesting, will be individualized mass transit autonomous EVs in tunnels, taking you directly to your destination. They have this already running at a pilot in Las Vegas in the United States, and he added multi-layer tunnel networks, solve city choke points, while long-distance travel could be done one day using cars, pods in a vacuum tunnel. Ta-da. Again, he's thinking big. Of course, will cities embrace that? I don't know. Some will. Some forward-thinking places like Las Vegas already have, so we'll see. And also, speaking of transportation, which is going to be very much disrupted, this is interesting. Uber CEO Dara was on the All In Pod, and he was talking about how he can partner with Tesla. The pitch is simple, which is if you're looking to maximize the revenues of those robotaxis today, we're the ticket to maximization of that revenue. We would love to partner with Tesla, but at this point, they're looking to go alone. I think the market is big enough to carry a number of winners. And right after saying that, he dumps 21% of his Uber stock. And I think Jason Calacanis also has a bunch of Uber stock. The writing's on the wall, everybody, okay? This guy just told you what's going to happen, okay? And Tesla doesn't need anybody. One of the reasons Tesla does so well and makes so much profit is they don't have partners. They do everything themselves. They make the seats and the cars themselves. They make the chips themselves. They make everything themselves. They're completely the most vertically integrated company ever seen on the face of the planet that makes an extremely complex set of products. Okay. That's the magic. There's not 100 different fingers in every single pie taking all the profits. No, not at all. And Meta. Shout out to Zuckerberg. Meta. Since he missed the boat on AI and he knows he can't win that. And he actually failed very fast after spending billions on a team and then discovering, oh, we're not going to make it. Oh, well, let's focus on something else. And Meta just unveiled their big step towards dominating, apparently, the still nascent augmented reality market. They're still talking AR, VR, but that's his play. That's been in his thoughts for, 20 years now. And they unveiled the latest version of their Ray-Ban sunglasses. This time, it sees through display and a wristband for controlling the device. Now, people will be able to send text messages via hand motions or interpret the wristband. Kind of like, what was that movie? The Tom Cruise guy with the hands on the screen. It's pretty cool, but we'll see. Anyway, he believes the holy grail to what he calls superintelligence, his artificial version of superintelligence, will be this augmented reality with AI. We'll see. Either way, you got to have the engine to run it. And they don't have that. They may have the shades, again, made by another partner, but we'll see where it all goes. And DeepSeek, shout out to our friends in Asia. DeepSeek is focusing on the most formidable challenge in artificial intelligence. And this, for them, is what they call general reasoning. So the ability for AI to think on its own and solve problems on its own. And they believe they're getting there without a huge amount of GPUs, but they'll be able to do things with human-labeled trajectories to be able to achieve this reasoning capability. We'll see what they can do. It's been very impressive what they've done so far, but the point is, general reasoning and AGI is coming fast. Fast. There's no slowing this train down, okay? This is not going to slow down. And the people crying out, saying, let's focus on AI safety and let's regulate it to death. You can't, okay? If the Western nations slow down on AI, the Chinese will do it. That's it. Game over. Done. Dunsies. Another interesting thing, Michael Saylor has been here chatting with me. He is so cool. Saylor says he used AI like Grok to help design strategies, preferred securities instead of fiat economists. They have 4 different types of preferred securities. Each one was built, designed, and structured with AI. They're not calling up some TradFi normally. Hey, I need to raise more money to buy more Bitcoin. What do you think? What should we do? And AI engineered them 4 different products. That's so neat. Just shows you the potential. And we're still so early. Still so early. Okay? Mad to think about. Speaking of money and Michael Saylor, XMoney is incoming too. This is from Doge Designer. Elon Musk has just confirmed that XMoney is working internally and will start extending to the outside beta users soon. That's going to be huge. Imagine your source of news, your source of financial data, real-time data, and your money is all tied into a secure platform. Mad. And then you'll have AI probably making trades for you as well on the side. We'll see. It's crazy. And speaking of X, this is a wild story. Okay, this is wild. European journalists have just decided to boycott X entirely. This is the European Federation of Journalists, representing 300,000 people that write mainstream media garbage. They have just announced that they are leaving X and will no longer be posting. What is your response? I said, so now they will be entirely uninformed and posting stuff that's both misleading, full of lies, wrong, and very late. It's going to be wonderful. It's like, bye, don't let the door hit you on the way out. This is kind of another self-inflicted wound by the mainstream media. Good riddance. That one made me very happy today. Good sign. Now, in other Orwellian news, as we're getting into the Orwellian corner now and era digitalis, the bad side of all of this AI and data and the ability to monitor stuff at scale. Shout out to our friends in the UK. This is a lady called Liz Kendall. She is the Labour Minister, and she threatens punishments for those who refuse digital ID in the UK. If anybody is here like SD, I see you out there. Let me know what you think of this. Drop a comment. I'm going to blast it up on the screen. Or anybody else who finds this Orwellian, or is it fine? But they will lose if you do not obey your digital ID, your overlord. You will lose access to your welfare. You will lose access to your pensions. You lose access to public services. You won't be able to ride a bus like in China if you're not a good citizen. And she said it's for your benefit. And the real answer here is authoritarianism is here. Imagine you don't want to take some new experimental vaccine. And they say, we're going to turn you off until you take your jab. All right. That is wild. Anybody think this is mad or no? It's far from fine. This is, I'm going to pull up some of these. I want to hear what people think. Because a lot of people think, oh, digital IDs and CBDCs, they're nothing. It's fine. Let the government do what they want. And yes, the state will be after you, evil lady. Yeah, this is really scary. And this is, yeah, exactly. We're in the Orwell corner of 1984. And from SD, she should be sacked ASAP. A lot of people, I think, in government should be sacked, but that's just my personal take. But beware of this. Once you opt into this digital monitoring tracking system, that's it. They got you. Okay. Now, the people that say, oh, the NPCs, they say, oh, CBDCs, and this all ties into Bitcoin and everything else. It's unbelievable. Everything is interrelated. Everything has connective tissue. Hey, cool. Government is trying to make my life easier with a digital currency. Yeah, banks have full control of every penny you own. You'll be vulnerable to state and foreign actors. You'll have your social credit score. Every transaction is documented. You won't be able to pull out $300 and bet it on a horse or something without the government knowing about it. Access to your money can be turned off if you do not behave or do not take certain things. They can freeze your funds, and it's very convenient. That's the big benefit many people believe, but it's completely centralized. You'll have no anonymity, no privacy, etc., etc. Absolutely terrifying out there. And do you think the government can keep your data secure? No. They become honeypots for hackers. And say, oh, Joe X, he's got £1 million in his Santander bank. Let's go over and pay him a visit with a sledgehammer tonight. Yeah, that's what will probably happen. Now, the plan, sorry to go down the dark Orwell corner, but it's important because this is the downside of AI and monitoring and data and control we got to be aware of. The plan and the trap. A digital ID will hand them the keys to your life. A cashless society will lock the door behind you. Don't let them trap you in. A cashless society will lock the door behind you. Anyway, it's very, very terrifying. And meme du jour is a serious one for our friends. It's here. They have the plans. For 5 years, the WEF has told us their plans for 2030 in no uncertain terms. This is the danger of AI and digital and connectivity. If the governments are in cahoots with a capability that's digital to track everything, they now have the easy button to press to make that happen. So be careful. Be very careful out there. Hope you all got smarter. I like the Thursday AI show. I hope you do too, everybody. Oh, Overlord. It is rare today. As Larry thinking us out. Yeah, that's another concern out there too. I stay awake at night with all the concerns I have because the future is going to be wild in every sense, good and bad. So let's hope the Minority Report, that's the movie I was trying to think of. Yeah, the hands controlling. We'll see. I'm late. You're never late. Better late than never. Thank you, Dial Up Dan, as well. Appreciate you. And Sean D, Teen DK, and everybody else. That was Thursday's rendition of AI Impact. It will impact us all in good ways and bad ways. Protect yourselves from the bad ways and pack your bags for the good ways because life-changing gains are coming over the next 5 years. But you need exposure to this narrative, which is way beyond a narrative. Thank you all for coming. Have a good night. Bye-bye.